Hey dudes, Silhouette here, back again with another Classic WoW guide. With Phase 6 bringing Naxxramas to the Anniversary servers, we're in the final stages of Vanilla once again. This raid is the pinnacle of Vanilla raiding. Massive, brutal, and full of mechanics that will punish players who are caught unaware. Regardless of whether you're aiming for world first clears, or just trying to get KT down before the Burning Crusade, one thing is clear: preparation is key. So, in celebration of this re-release of the final raid in Classic, I thought it would be a good idea to break down just a few tips and tricks to help you and your guild succeed in Naxxramas. From attunement and consumables to trash mobs and boss mechanics, we'll talk about some super useful things that you can keep in mind to avoid unnecessary wipes and look like a pro as you step inside the Necropolis. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss any more Classic WoW videos. But with that out of the way, let's zone on in. Let's start with the basics. You can't even step foot inside Naxxramas without being attuned through the Argent Dawn. At the very minimum, you'll need to be honored, but here's the kicker. The higher your rep, the cheaper your attunement becomes. At Exalted, it's free. At Revered, it's a modest fee of 30 gold, 2 arcane crystals, and 1 Nexus crystal. But at Honored, we're talking about a huge gold sink. 60 gold, 5 arcane crystals, 2 Nexus crystals, and a Righteous Orb. Yikes. So if you haven't already, get out there and farm Skullaments, Stratholme, and the quests out in the Eastern Plaguelands. These rep gains will save you time and money in the long run. And if it's still early enough in Phase 6 when you're watching this video, you can also get some rep by doing the Scourge Invasion event. Speaking of which, try to stock up on the Blessed Wizard Oil or Consecrated Sharpening Stones during that event. These are limited time consumables that you won't be able to get anymore once the Scourge Invasion ends. If you want to min-max your performance in Naxx, you'll want to stock up on as many of these as you can, so get them while they're still available. Like any raiding classic, consumables give you the edge you need, and in Naxx they become absolutely essential. You'll need the usual potions and elixirs, but on top of that, make sure to bring Greater Shadow and Nature Protection potions, limited invulnerability potions, and anything else that the guides out there tell you to. Naxx really does a number on your wallet, but it's worth it to make sure that your bags are stocked for those sweet, sweet epics that are held within. On top of those consumables, there's also frost resistance, which is critical for the Sapphiron encounter. Crafting frost gear requires frozen runes, which you'll loot from bosses and the walls inside the raid itself using Words of Thawing. Every player needs to have some frost resist gear ready for that penultimate boss, so keep an eye out for those runes and be ready to craft those items. Alright, now that we've talked some general preparation, let's get right into the actual raid itself. One thing that sets Naxx apart is the sheer volume of trash mobs here. Some can be skipped, sure, but many patrol in ways that catch groups off guard. In general, the golden rule is to play it safe. If your raid tends to overpull, take your time and clear thoroughly. It's better to lose 5 minutes than 30 minutes running back to Thaddeus. Tanks. This raid will test your gear flexibility. You'll need a strong mitigation set, a solid threat set, your resistance gear, and, of course, your diamond flask set. You really can't come in with just one cookie cutter set of gear in your bags. Naxx isn't forgiving like that. Now priests, let's talk about you. Priests have a huge role in this raid. You'll need to mind control ads on the fights I Widow Fairlina and Instructor Resuvius, so make sure to bring some plus spell hit gear so that your spells land. A resisted or broken mind control can spell disaster for your raid, so be prepared. Finally, a note about one specific trash pack. Make sure that you pay attention on the Abomination Wing trash, especially the one right after the big circular slime room. Touching the slime river cuts your HP in half, so your whole raid will likely need to sit and eat or drink after crossing the stream. If just one player moves too far forward, however, they can very easily pull the trash on the other side, so everyone needs to be careful. On top of that, those packs' living monstrosities summon lightning totems that absolutely melt raids if left alive. You'll need to nuke them down super fast, which means your whole team has to work as a unit on those mobs. Alright, now that we've discussed some general tips, let's talk about some specific bosses. I won't go over every single mechanic of every boss, but rather just a few tips that I remember or that I've learned from others over the years. On Naxxramas, her web wrap mechanic can ruin tanks if they're not prepared. One thing that can help a lot with this is having a priest spec'd into improved power word shield ready to bubble the tank right before the wrap lands. Timing it correctly is key though. It really needs to land within that final second. Hagen's infamous safety dance can be a nightmare if you struggle with lag or just can't nail the pattern. If you're having problems, consider popping a greater nature protection potion. It won't make you invincible by any means, but it might buy you the couple of seconds needed to recover if you're slow on the move. Loetheb's Corrupted Mind debuff means that tanks can only get one heal per healer every 60 seconds. If your healers are engineers, however, major recombobulator trinkets can actually provide extra healing, as their effect scales with your plus healing. It's definitely a lesser known trick that could help give your tank that little extra edge in a pinch, so maybe consider it. Patchwork is the ultimate healer check in Naxx. Tanks need to soak insane damage, but with their increased avoidance at high gear levels, that damage comes in at uneven bursts. As such, healers should prepare stop cast macros to avoid wasting mana if a heal isn't needed at that last second. A simple /stop cast /cast greater heal rank 4 macro with a keen eye and a steady hand will be the greatest asset for healers on this fight. Alright, this one's not so much a boss tip, but a reminder. After Gluth dies and you head over toward Thaddeus, don't split up the raid. Remember to move as a group to cross that hallway. Many a raider have died here by being too slow to cross, which wastes everyone's time and world buffs. For the Thaddeus encounter, when you're done with the 2 adds at the start of the fight, don't just try to run over the edge, as it's very easy to fall into the slime below. You absolutely need to run toward the edge and jump to make the platform. You can also use slow fall abilities or Noggenfogger elixirs to help you cross safely, but standing at the edge and jumping, or just running over, will almost guarantee that you'll be sitting out of the fight. Also, if anyone in the raid is experiencing lag, have them just sit that fight out. Killing half the raid with the wrong polarity isn't worth the DPS or healing here. On Gothic the Harvester, ad management is king. On the live side, focus riders first, then death knights, then trainees. On the undead side, however, it's trainees, then riders, then death knights, then the horses. Use crowd control to help control ads as the fight ramps up, but really, the kill order is the biggest thing. When you get to the 4 horsemen, this is your big tank fight. Every tank needs to have Nat Pagel's Broken Reel from Gazranka in ZG to ensure that every single taunt lands every time. And honestly, all warriors should bring this trinket. When taunts resist here, it's basically a guaranteed wipe, so make sure you're well equipped. On Sapphiron, her 5 ice blocks are completely random, meaning that you can simply just get super unlucky and have them all land on the opposite side of the room from you. Luckily, this is pretty rare, but it does happen on occasion. Also, be mindful of the Frost Breath. It actually lands about a second before the animation finishes, so don't wait until that last moment. Get prepared to go right behind an ice block as soon as that final one has been cast. And finally, Health is odd. In Phase 1, play it safe. Pets and tab targeting are the #1 causes of accidental wipes here, so be smart, hunters. In the later phases, when the big ads spawn, all tanks and warriors need to be on their toes. If a tank gets mind controlled, someone has to pick those ads up immediately, or they'll eat the raid alive. So be vigilant. So, there you go. Just a few tips and tricks to help you in your Naxxramas adventures. I'm sure that to veteran players, most of these are old news. But that said, if you're new to the place, or playing a different role this time around, I hope you found something useful. Classic Naxxramas is no walk in the park, but with the right preparation, consumables, and a few of these tricks up your sleeve, you should be able to save your group some problems therein. The raid might be a bit intimidating, but once you get into the rhythm, it can be one of the most unique experiences Classic has to offer. But anyway, what do you think? Did you find any of these tips helpful, or do you have any of your own favorite Naxx tips that I didn't mention here? Let us all know in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified about future Classic WoW content, especially as we head toward TBC. But for now, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take it easy, guys.